Good afternoon. My name is Derek Kreifels, and I'm the president of the State Financial Officers Foundation and of Smart Women, Smart Money. And we have a great show for you today. We're so excited that we've got these wonderful people gathered together and this technology that allows us to do so. But we're here joined by our wonderful Smart Women, Smart Money National Emcee, Carolyn Holly, who's made it down from Charlotte, Montana, where she's sheltering in place. Welcome, Carolyn. We're so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I could say howdy to you if I was at our Montana place, but I'm back in Boise right now. And blessings to you. It's so great to see you.
Thank you so much. You know, Smart Women, Smart Money started 20 years ago. And this started as a way for women to grow in their knowledge of how to better manage their personal finances. And who would have thought then that this amazing conference would provide this perfect special recipe, not only to allow women to survive, but to thrive during this hard time, during this pandemic?
Boy, you hit it on the head right there. And you know what? We've got to bring in the man right now who started it all. What do you think, Derek?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to bring in the national co-chair and founder of Smart Women, Smart Money, recently retired Idaho State Treasurer, had a fantastic career in the Gem State. Mr. Ron Crane, you've got to come join our conversation right now.
I would love to join the conversation.
It is so good to see you,
Carolyn, and good to see you, Derek. Glad you guys are doing so well.
Yeah, Derek really hit it on the head, Ron, when he said, first of all, that you started this conference 2 decades ago. So my question is, when he talked about that special recipe that we have at this conference, did you ever imagine 20 years ago that the information that is given out at Smart Women, Smart Money is more important today than ever?
No, I would never have dreamed that we would have the results that we've had with this conference. And of course, you've been there since day one with me, and you've witnessed the same thing that I've witnessed, how we watched at that very first conference that 1,500 women showed up and shocked the daylights out of all of us, that there was that kind of thirst and hunger for financial information. And of course, Debbie Reynolds was our keynote speaker, and what an outstanding one she was. We'll never forget that opportunity. But she told her story of how she had lost her fortune 3 times. None of us realized that, but it was a great thing for her to share with the women who attended the conference. How that when Eddie Fisher left her and went off with Elizabeth Taylor, that left her with those 3 children. And then she remarried, and unbeknownst to her, the man that she married at the second marriage was a gambler. And she did not know that, and he gambled away their multiple homes that they had. And she and those 3 children lived in a car for a period of time. And finally, she got back on her feet, if you remember, and she married a 3rd time. And that gentleman got into her pension fund for about $1 million. And so the message that she gave was not only hopeful and inspirational, but was also hands-on. She wrote all of her own checks at that point. She had stopped using accountants and people that would handle her finances, and she handled all of her money matters herself. It was a great message for her to share with the women that day. But when I came down off that platform that afternoon, as she'd completed her speech, I was mobbed. I don't know if you don't remember where you were at that particular point, but I was mobbed. I think there were probably a dozen or more ladies that came up to me and said, Ron, thank you for putting on this conference. We needed this. I even got some free hugs.
You were doing the right thing.
Yeah, must be doing something right. But we realized that we had touched a nerve. Women wanted to know how to manage their finances. And we men, we like to think that we're the head of the household and we control everything like that. But the real truth of the matter is women are the neck that turns the head. So if you want to affect change and help people with their finances, work through the women. They are the ones that are able to control the men. Men will look at information like a conference like this and say, boy, that was really interesting stuff. Hey, did I tell you about that fish I caught last week? Or don't we have a tea time tomorrow at 4:30? Out of sight, out of mind. Women, on the other hand, have the ability to make the connection that this affects me and my family, and we're going to do something about it. We're going to get control of our finances. We're going to get out of debt. We're going to start saving. We're going to start planning for the future. We're going to start investing. And that is the message that we take to these conferences that we've done over the past 20 years. And the thing that's interesting about it is state treasurers are a perfect fit for this kind of information because people look up to them in their individual states as knowing how to manage money. People trust them. And so I'm so excited that State Financial Officers Foundation has picked up this mantle and is running with it and taking it from to all the states and making it available. It's an awesome thing and exciting to me from that humble beginning that we started with to see where it is today. Carolyn, we've had 37,000 women that have attended this conference just in Idaho. That's incredible.
Well, over 42,000 now nationwide.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty
exciting.
Ron, I know, you talked about the way that the information is delivered and, part of, Carolyn mentioned that special sauce. We always talk about the special sauce of our conferences. But, one of the things that you mentioned Debbie Reynolds, and I hear in her story and I hear in other stories from our keynote speakers is this theme of inspiring and overcoming huge hurdles in their lives. Why do you think that is so, it seems to be part of what really strikes that nerve with the majority of women that come to this?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because I remember when I grew up, my father was a blue-collar worker. He provided well for his family. We weren't wealthy or rich, but he did a good job providing for his family. But we did not discuss money. Money was just something you didn't talk about out in the open. I don't know whether it was viewed as being something that would be braggadocious or proud or something like that, but we did not discuss money. Money has a language all of its own. And one of the things that I have seen that has been so beneficial to the women who attend these conferences is they learn the language of money. They learn how to talk about money. And as you have said yourself many times, we enter into a judgment-free zone. There's none of us that are wealthy or financial gurus that have all the answers. We work together. We're all in this together. We're trying to help each other learn how to manage our finances. And women are the action takers. So appealing to them, bringing them into the conversation and helping them understand the language of money and the freedom to discuss it is extremely valuable and important, especially today.
And it's such an amazing event that you have this one venue where you're getting all this very useful information and language, as you said, Ron. And we haven't even mentioned yet, it's free. This conference is free. And we can get into that a little bit more. But while you were speaking, I was thinking of our motto, which is, it's never too early and it's never too late.
Right.
And we do see women from all walks of life at Smart Women, Smart Money.
We have had, excuse me, go ahead.
No, just tell me more about some of the takeaways that you've seen that have really changed a woman's life or women's lives because they've come to this conference and really taken it to heart. Well,
let me say first, we cover all demographics. We have women from all financial backgrounds that come to the conference. We've had a lady that was a billionaire that made a donation to the conference. You know who I'm referring to. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to know if she could come to the conference and check on her investment, as she put it. And so you have somebody that's extremely wealthy. And on the other hand, you have somebody like the story of Diney that we've talked about so many times that didn't have two nickels to rub together. And yet she gained valuable information and it changed her life. So over the years, I've had a number of letters from women that have experienced life-changing received life-changing information that has made a real difference in their lives. But I've also had women come to me directly. And I was thinking a moment ago of a lady who used to come to our conference, and she would stand outside the door at about 7 a.m. The doors opened at 8. No, the doors opened at 7. She'd be there at 6:30, pounding on that door, wanting in. And it kind of frustrated the girls that were running the registration table, because year after year, she would be there pounding on that door about 30 minutes before the doors even opened. When she came in, she went right up to the table next to the reserve table where I was sitting and sat her purse down and said, well, I've got 3 more payments on my house and it'll be paid for completely. So she had taken away from that managing her debt was extremely important. She was going to have her house paid off within 3 months. I thought of another lady about 3 years ago that came to me, and she said, Ron, you don't know me. She said, but I knew nothing about finances. I had never, ever even written a check. I didn't know if our house was paid for. I didn't know if we had a mortgage on it. I didn't know if my name was on the checking account. And my husband passed away suddenly and left me living in our home, but living without any information. I knew nothing. And she said, I sank into a dark hole. And as a result, she remarried on the rebound, trying to find financial security. And this husband was abusive. So she had to get a divorce. And that left her in worse shape than she was prior to the marriage. So she came to our conference and she said, today I've gotten information that shows me the direction that I need to go, who I need to surround myself with, and it has made all the difference in the world. I can see light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. Those kinds of stories, Carolyn, make it all worthwhile. And we all know that the Dinah Harris story that we've all talked about so many times, a young girl who had 2 young children, 2 young sons. Her husband had left her, and she had been living in a walk-in closet, subleasing that walk-in closet from a girlfriend who was renting an apartment. And she came to our conference and learned valuable information, ultimately became a stockbroker for Merrill Lynch. Today, she is a financial advisor in a very successful firm that she and her husband own, and it totally changed her life. Those are the kinds of stories that make it worthwhile. Those are the stories that make every effort and the hard work that goes into it all worthwhile.
Oh, and it just, I chills. I still get chills thinking of these wonderful success stories that you never know who it's going to come from. And so I want to point out to everyone who I hope is watching, so that, and they're going to make plans to come to Smart Women, Smart Money when it hits their state, is that it is a no judgment zone from the moment you walk in. So Ron, why is that so important, especially when you're talking about finances and money and, you know, highs and lows?
I think there's an intimidation factor that if I ask a question, somebody might think that is a dumb question, or it might seem like it's too simple of a question. But no question is a dumb question. And we emphasize that. You do that as the MC. Ask your questions. No question's a dumb question. We're all in this together. We're trying to learn together. And that judgment-free zone frees the women to open up and become vulnerable. And women will do that much quicker than men will, as you well know. But once they realize that they can ask something and no one's going to snicker or laugh or make fun of them, that we are there to learn together, it makes it extremely valuable. And even if they only gain 1 little nugget or 2 little nuggets of information to take away with them that they apply for that year, that's valuable. That's worthwhile.
That's right. Well, and what's fun, you were mentioning, we mentioned Dinah's story earlier, and we're going to shift gears here and talk about sponsors a little bit. But now that same woman who came to the conference years ago, living in her friend's walk-in closet, who has built her business and is doing extremely well now, is now one of our sponsors for Smart Women, Smart Money in Idaho. So it's just fun to see how things can come full circle, right?
Absolutely.
But, speaking of our sponsors, Ron, they are the lifeblood of Smart Women, Smart Money. What is it that you think they gain from backing this incredible conference?
Well, I think there's a number of things that they gain. First of all, it makes the conference free. We figure that this conference, if you were to go out on the street and sponsor or put it together, would cost every woman who attends about $75 to $80 per attendee to come to a conference like this. But because we have our sponsors, that makes it free to the women so that they can attend. And as you and I well know, the women who can afford it the least need it the most. So it's very, very important to us. Now, most of the women have no idea what these vendors offer as far as goods and services. So a vendor has the opportunity to lay out their products and their services and talk to the women one-on-one in an intimate setting and tell them the products and services that they offer and give them the opportunity to ask questions about. They may not be aware that this particular financial institution offers investment consulting or offers small business loans or has a small business center to help them get their business started. Here's a sponsor with the ability then to make that information available. Many of our sponsors teach the breakout sessions, so they get an opportunity to share their knowledge and their wealth of information with the women who attend those conferences, and they have a lot to offer.
And it ends up that they get to build those relationships almost instantly if they're teaching those breakout sessions, because they're interacting with those attendees and answering their questions. And so it's really beneficial. Well, it's been really fun for me to watch sponsors, how you created this great blueprint in Idaho that we can take to other states. And now our sponsors that are coming forward to help in other states include insurance agents and funeral homes, and
law firms,
stores and retail stores and places that see foot traffic that aren't necessarily financial literacy related. They're not banks or we are getting a lot of great banks and credit unions, but there's some of the companies that are getting involved that are kind of unexpected, and it's been really neat to see them value this. I am happy and excited to share with you some news.
Okay, I want to hear it.
We always like news.
So as we're all in this weird COVID-19 time, and we've had to postpone some of our Smart Women, Smart Money conferences to 2021, and think about ways to keep those valuable sponsors and corporations who provide such vital services so many times for financial literacy for families and for men and women. We are announcing the creation of Smart Women, Smart Money magazine, which is going to be a full color publication that will land in every attendee's mailbox for free this mid-July. And it's going to cover some great feature stories on, we're actually going to do a story on our esteemed founder, Ron Crane. I think Carolyn will have a little column in the magazine.
I'd love that. What an opportunity for your sponsors,
yes,
for the attendees to keep up. Brilliant, as we all are pivoting in this new world.
Yeah, and we're super excited about it. We're going to start off quarterly, but we really think this is a great way for our sponsors to stay tied together with the attendees that have come. The other thing that we're doing is we have launched a new podcast for our Smart Women, Smart Money listeners. So we will take interviews like what we're doing today and turn them into podcasts. They'll be available on our website. They already are. If women want to find out more information about our magazine, if you want to update your address with us so that you get your free copy, you can go to our website at statefinancialofficers.com. And you can on the top tab, there's already a podcast tab and a SWSM magazine tab, and they can get all kinds of information. So we're super excited about that.
That is so awesome. That is so great.
Go ahead, Carolyn. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say again, what an opportunity another avenue to build relationships. And
That's
I'm
what we're
thinking
all
of
about.
a sponsor, you know, and that they can again tell all these women, and what a targeted audience for those sponsors, because yes, you're right, Ron, women do make the decisions in the household.
They do.
That what a great opportunity pipeline that you're providing there. So when should we expect the magazine?
So it comes, it'll be printed and sent out hopefully the first week of July. And I anticipate that folks should start receiving them in their mailboxes by mid-July.
Awesome.
Derek, I am so excited about this new magazine opportunity, because one of the things that we've heard from our sponsors is, how do we stay in touch with these women after the conference? How do we keep our information flowing to them? This is that opportunity. And
That's
I
right.
think
And the magazine is national in scope. So we'll have stories in there on what's going on, Smart Women, Smart Money related in Idaho and in Nebraska and Arkansas. So it'll be a neat way to bring the national community together. So we're just, again, super excited about it.
Love it so much. You know, I have a question. It's kind of an elephant in the room right now when it comes to sponsors, because all businesses are going through tough times right now with COVID-19, and they're probably meeting very soon to talk about where they're going to spend their dollars, what they're going to support. And this is such a wonderful avenue, but I'd like to turn to our founder, Ron, and as those meetings are going on, what would you say to a sponsor who has been with us, or even thinking about the first time of coming on board? What would you say to them about this conference and why it's so important that they back it?
I think this particular time that you've just articulated, the COVID-19 thing, has presented an opportunity. I know it's been a negative, but it also has provided us an opportunity to assist people who need it now, need financial information now more than ever. If they're a small business owner, they're probably struggling on whether they can keep their business afloat, or whether they can reopen their doors, whether their customer base will still be with them. That's very concerning to a small business owner, especially if they haven't been deemed as an essential business. Mm-hmm. So they need all the advice and help that they can get, and these financial institutions and sponsors can step up then and be the one that assists them in doing that. Even with personal finances, there's a lot of people that are struggling because of what is happening. They're out of work, and so they need assistance. They need information. How do I get out of debt? How do I handle my finances during a crisis like this? You've heard me say this many times, Carolyn. Money is not the most important thing in life, but it is a pretty important commodity. And how we handle our money, especially in a time of a crisis like this, is extremely important. These conferences give us that opportunity to help people know how to handle their finances. And this magazine that can come through the mail, and it's free, there's no subscription, has tips in there on how to handle finances. It's so exciting. I think our mission is bigger today than it's ever been.
That's right. Well, and I think, you know, the thing that I've been doing, and I think Ron and Carolyn, you probably as well, is look at all the blessings that have come from this time of being at home with family, of slowing down a little bit, being a little more thankful for what we've been given. And I can tell you that, you know, things like this magazine project that has come forward in full speed ahead, we wouldn't be doing it had we not had this pause in our lives, right? I mean, there wouldn't be the time and the energy and the resources to put it all together. So anyway, I know for me, and we've heard from a lot of our viewers and a lot of our folks on social media that they're all looking at this from a positive attitude, that this has been a really good time to pause, to be thankful for all the wonderful things in our lives. Carolyn, you said that so well in your video from Charlotte that we had on our social media page. So, you know, in closing, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to be on here today. Carolyn, looking forward to doing many more of these with you. And Ron, thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much for having the foresight to start this movement 20 years ago, because the thing that you've started has snowballed into this giant movement across the country that is absolutely impacting lives. And so we're just so thankful for it.
Well, thank you for saying that. But quite frankly, you and I both know that the only way that there is truly success is when you surround yourself with good people. And Carolyn Holly has been there right beside me the entire time, helping make this thing go. Her enthusiasm and excitement for it keeps me excited. And then to watch you pick up and take it nationwide, Derek, it's a thrill. So anything I can do to help, let me know.
Great. Well, thanks again. And Carolyn, we'll see you next time on another day.
Hey, remember, it's never too early and it's never too late.